Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on February the 9th in the year of our Lord 2026. And as usual, I got some good stuff for you tonight. So let's just jump over here to my Rumble channel, Murtech on Rumble. This is the video we're going over tonight, episode 1833. It says upcoming, but as you know, you are actually watching it. So let's get into this. Close out the live chat, slide down here, and click the Show More button to expand out the description box. We have information from Dan Bongino, Barry Cunningham, Benny Johnson, and Wendy Bell Radio. But before we get into that, we have a lot of shout-outs to give. Can Haya just started following my channel. Cal Leiden 11 just started following my channel. Carl Yard just started following my channel. And Yay Hoodit 77 just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the content. All right, Debbie BS reposted my episode 1832 from last night. Real News DFW and Long Island 5 just started, commented on my daily news wrap-up last night. Real News DFW and Debbie BS commented on my episode 1832. Oingo to Bongino and Yay Hoodit 77 commented on my extra 614C. Debbie BS gave me a comment on my extra 615A, 615B, and 615C. So thank you very much, folks, for reposting my video and your comments. I enjoy reading your feedback, and I definitely appreciate your support. So let me give this a thumbs up. And while I'm talking about thumbs up, I have one of those little thumbs up icons right here below the video that you're watching. So please slide down and give me a thumbs up. Okay, Dan Bongino, Kid Rock, Greater Than Sad Bunny, episode 2449. So let's go ahead and see what that's all about. Here we go.
The Turning Point Show racked up something like 6 million streams on YouTube. On Rumble, it had probably, I don't know, across the multiple channels. I know Real America's Voice and the Turning Point channel and Charlie's channel. They racked up numbers that are just unheard of. Folks, I am an investor in this business. I'm a streamer in this business. Here is a chart of the top live streams, things sent over the internet for public consumption we've ever seen. Turning Point is now at number 3 at an estimated 6.1 million concurrent views. I actually think it was probably more than that. This may turn out to be the second or maybe first most watched stream ever, as in ever happen. I mean, this is a cataclysmic shift in American culture because nobody, folks, listen to me, nobody takes on the NFL and wins. Nobody except Turning Point. When I had my show on Fox, you forget about taking on the NFL. You don't even take on college football. My show on Fox was originally on at 10 p.m. unfiltered, and then it was on at 9. And sometimes, I remember the Iron Bowl one year, it went late. They went into a couple overtimes, and it wound up bleeding into my show. And you can see the viewership of the show go right up the minute college football ends. Why? People love their football. Forget about taking on the NFL. Turning Point did it and won. How the hell do you get that many streams? That is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I told a bunch of people this thing is going to be huge. And I mean, it wasn't some like Stygian witches, give me the eye. I mean, any genius, any non-genius could have seen it. This thing was even bigger than my expectations are huge. I told a friend of mine, they'll get 500,000 streamers. And that, folks, I'm not messing with you. In my head, that's a monster number. On election night, what did we do, Guy, on election night? It was like 505,000? 505,000. That was like one of the top 5 streams of the year. They did 6.1 million. I need you to understand that the magnitude of that. Here's 2 things I want you to remember why this is a shift going forward outside of just the well-deserved praise from TPUSA for that. Number one, I've told you over and over, folks, you are the media now. I'm not kidding. It's not a joke. It's not bullshit. It's not Dan Bongino sitting there patting you on the head, telling you how great you are. It's true. You guys and ladies are the media now. The media is entirely fragmented now, and you have a choice. You choose to be here on a Monday morning. You choose to make us one of the top live streams in the world. You don't have to be here. It's not a cable channel where you're stuck watching who's ever on if you like the channel but you don't like the host. You don't have to be here. You chose to tune in last night in this fragmented media environment to a pro-America halftime show that I promise you is going to send seismic ripples through the entire media entertainment space. I promise you. You don't think there's NFL folks sitting down right now, bean counters going, holy shnikes, man, what the hell just happened? This is what happens when you pick Sad Bunny. Another thing happened too. Don't ever forget this either. I've addressed this repeatedly, multiple times on my show throughout the years. More for me being kind of an investor in the space. The problem live streaming's had from the start is the 2-button problem. Your folks are used to cable. Hit the power button. It's on your favorite channel. You have to do nothing. One button, one press. That's it. One button. That's not a problem. Everybody's used to it. Streaming has a 2-button problem. You got to turn the TV on. You got to go find an app. It's not hard, but you have to be walked through it a couple of times. Typically, the younger folks know what they're doing, but a lot of us who grew up with the 1-button problem or the 1-button non-problem have the 2-button problem. People are now figuring it out. It's not hard. It's not complicated. People are figuring it out. They're figuring out how to go to Rumble, how to go to Twitch, how to go to all these other platforms and watch stuff, how to go to X, how to go to YouTube. They're figuring it out. And that's why millions of people last night sent an earthquake through the entire entertainment system last night and won. Look at this poll on TMZ. TMZ put a poll out. I bet they were expecting a different result. Who did TMZ, not some like huge conservative outlet. Hey, who did you prefer for the halftime show, Sad Bunny or Kid Rock? Look, Kid Rock, 66.8%, Sad Bunny, 33.2%. It was even worse last night. It was like 80-20. I guess the liberals got wind of it and still trying to take the poll back. 278,000 votes, by the way, not a small sample size. Here's Andrew Colvett on Brian Kilmeade's show last night after the show, after the halftime show. He's one of the folks over there with Turning Point, helped since the tragic murder of Charlie, helped transition a Turning Point into the activist organization. It was always it was and wants to keep it going. And here he was last night on Kilmeade's show talking about the, again, earthquake last night of TPUSA's halftime show. Check this out.
Andrew, I watched your show. It was great. How did you do? Do you have a sense of how many people watched?
Yeah, it was kind of blew our minds actually a little bit, Brian. And we saw at one point across all the different social channels, we saw over 10 million concurrent views. So that was adding up all of Rumble and all of our partners just on the social side. So, and now the numbers keep trickling in. I mean, right now, as I'm sitting here, YouTube's numbers keep updating. And so we're trying to put it all together. What I can safely say is that we are now over 20 million viewers across just social. So we haven't even gotten our partner broadcasters, their analytics. As you know, sometimes the ratings take a little while, but that's 20 million viewers. And we don't know how many people were gathered together, 3, 4, 10 in a room watching together. So we're going to try and put a final number on that when we can. What we can safely say is over 20 million Americans tuned in to the All-American halftime show tonight.
20 million? That's freaking ridiculous. That is insane. Again, we, for a long time, were the #1 live stream show in the world, and we've always been a top 5 show. I mean, for politics. We've been a top 5 show forever. It's not a pat on the back. It's just true. Our biggest audience was 505,000. Not million. Incredible. Amazing job, guys. Really. And now I hear they're going to do it every year, giving people a pro-America alternative to the NFL. And I'm telling you, the NFL had better pay attention. Great job. Elbow's a little sore this morning. I was putting on a shirt the other day. My elbow snapped back, and it is like killing me this morning. I had to take an Advil when I got up. I'm like, what the hell? This is getting old. My father says it ain't for the young. Sucks. What? Oh gosh, I know. I don't even want to. But this one, there's 7 today for Nikki. I don't know. She's like, I wonder if she's like. Hey, as it turns out, we got some really important news to discuss too. So much happened on Friday. Was another big, huge Trump administration victory. They never, ever forgot about the tragedy in Benghazi. You saw the FTOC, foreign transfer to custody, where we pulled al-Bakush out of a foreign country. One of the folks alleged to have been involved in the attack on the special mission complex and embassy in Benghazi. It turns out, ladies and gentlemen, that yes, as the AG said, it does make a difference. What was she referring to? I don't want you all to ever, ever forget this. This was Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State, former First Lady, when asked a question about Benghazi. Don't ever forget this. Tattoo this on your brain. Here's how she felt about Benghazi. And President Trump said, no. It does make a difference. Check this out.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
And I want you to remember when that went down, the lefties all celebrating her as some kind of a hero. Look at her. She told those guys, what difference does it make? 4 Americans were murdered. Are you freaking insane? What difference? And the lefties loved that. They thought it was the greatest clip ever. I don't want you to ever forget this stuff. And no one ever did. We were involved in this from day one, week one. How do we get this guy back? Here was Obama. What was this on Letterman? He's on a late night show. Listen, now that I've kind of again seen how this sausage is made on the inside, there is no way Obama believed that this was all due to some video, a bunch of angry people over there watching. He made this whole story up and he knew it. Here he was on Letterman's show talking about blaming it on a video because they knew they had royally effed up in this Benghazi tragedy. Check this out.
The ambassador to Libya killed in an attack on the consulate in Benghazi. Right. Is this an act of war? Are we at war now?
No.
What happens here?
Well, here's what happened. You had a video that was released by somebody who lives here, sort of a shadowy character who is an extremely offensive video directed at Muhammad and Islam.
Making fun of the Prophet Muhammad.
Making fun of the Prophet Muhammad. And so this caused great offense in much of the Muslim world. But what also happened was extremists and terrorists used this as an excuse to attack a variety of our embassies, including the consulate in Libya. And the irony is the ambassador, Chris Stevens, he was the person who was first in Libya and helped to advise us in liberating Libya from Muammar Gaddafi, the former dictator there. And as offensive as this video was, and obviously we've denounced it, and the United States government had nothing to do with it, that's never an excuse for violence.
This is what's called gaslighting, framing, and narrative building. It was all bullshit all the time. They knew exactly what happened there. They provided inadequate security. This tragedy happened. And instead of just fessing up to it, what did they do? Let's try to blame this guy with the video. It was always bullshit. Thankfully, you got a president in charge right now you're in the find out stage. This president is barely a year into his presidency. And folks, listen to me. I don't want you to ever think that I'm having this Pollyanna-ish view of the world. The president's dealing with a lot. Are there things that can be done better? There are always things that can be done better. However, the drum roll of successes he's had over the past years are just undeniable. That the hard reality is nobody had gotten al-Bakush until the president got in office. They hadn't. What was it, a lack of interest? I don't know. But results matter. And this president was like, go get him. And they did. No one else did because he wasn't in bracelets and handcuffs. Here's Mark Thiessen putting out a tweet on this. Again, a lot of folks forgot about Abbygate. He's done so much, the president, that it all gets lost sometimes in the wash. First, Trump got the terrorist behind the Abbygate bombing. It was Sharifullah. Now he's got the terrorist behind Benghazi. Just incredible. And I mean, listen, he's not a huge pro-trade. He's a pretty down-the-middle guy. These are just realistic assessments of what the president has done versus other folks who have been in leadership positions in the cabinet and in the presidency before, spaghetti brains Biden, and they just didn't do it. Folks, this POTUS, this president of the United States, is absolutely not effing around. You know, if you go back to some of my shows, one of you guys got to pull this one time. I used to do this clip all the time before the election. Remember when do you guys remember we used to chat about this, how one of the big criticisms, against President Trump running for the second time, in his 47th term, not 2020, but running for the third time. But you get what I'm saying, for his second term. One of the big criticisms was, well, why would we elect him? He's going to be a lame duck the minute he gets into office. Do you remember that? And do you remember what my take was? I said, you guys are reading this all wrong. The best thing about this second term is there's no pressure for him to run for re-election, and he can do what he needs to do without having to worry about people pulling and tugging on him in every different direction. He is going to do it, and this is going to be, after he learned a lot of things in 45 in that term, this is going to be the most transformative presidency of your lifetime. And it turns out it's true. The guy's never changed, though. He was always like this. I saw this on X. I pulled this cut. It was Donald Trump decades ago on Oprah's show. Remember Oprah Winfrey? Like the biggest show ever. Oprah Winfrey. Everybody watched Oprah. Everybody watched Oprah. This was Donald Trump on Oprah Winfrey show. I want you to listen to him. Before he ran for president, he is the exact same FO guy now he was back then. Absolutely nothing has changed. The consistency is remarkable. Check this out.
Last year, criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me. And I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not. But I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
Folks, this speech could have been given yesterday. It's the exact same. If you age him a little bit, like using your AI, and you age his voice a little bit, it's the exact same speech he's given about foreign trade, how he really appreciates the citizens of other countries, but he's America first. It's the same speech. He has never changed. Listen, bash him on whatever you want. That's your right as an American citizen, but at least be honest that he's been consistent throughout the years in this approach to foreign relations, diplomacy, and trade.
Okay.
Another drug boat, by the way.
I'm going to go ahead and pause it there. Let me click on the Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from the Dan Bongino show. I'm following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. And this video will be in my daily news wrap-up, so you'll get to see the rest of it if you tune in for that. Okay, let's jump back here. I was doing a little bit of chatting here with Debbie BS. I wish other people would chat with me. I enjoy doing that. Okay, let's see what Barry Cunningham has to say. Chuck Schumer knows the SAVE Act will be the end of the Democrat Party. Let's check this out.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of Black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
Leader Schumer, this talk about election security has revived discussions of the SAVE Act, which you have said you oppose. Proponents of it say that it's, to have ID, you have to prove U.S. citizenship to be able to vote. Though some of the claims they make, to be clear, are overstated. We know there's not widespread election fraud, but.
How do you know that? I hate when they do that. You're a reporter. Just report what Chucky has to say. I don't need your little accent of salt and pepper all over it. Oh, that's what they say. There's no evidence of that. Bull crap. That's not news. That's propaganda. You stepped over the line. You gave us your opinion. But Chuck's even worse.
Polling does suggest, there's a new Pew Research poll that 95% of Republicans, but also 71% of Democrats like this idea. So why do you not?
Beyond him not liking it, why don't you like it? Why does the media not like it? If you see the numbers, if 95% of Republicans and even 70% of Democrats are, yeah, I think we need ID at the polling stations, then I guess it's not a small subsection of society who feels our elections are screwed up. That should be a huge story. Wow, it's huge. People on both sides don't want illegals voting in our elections. How hard is that to grasp? Well, it's very hard for Chucky.
It's Jim Crow 2.0, and I called it Jim Crow 2.0, and the right wing went nuts.
Forget the right wing. Jim Crow 2.0 is Jim Crow BS-O. It's insane. Nobody that I have ever met who's had any melanin in their skin has any problem getting an ID. There's nothing Jim Crow about it. And you're making yourself and your party look stupid. When you see those numbers, 95% of Republicans and 71% of Democrats. Hey, Chucky, let me give you a news flash here. There's probably a lot of black people in those numbers. I mean, I'm just saying, when you get to numbers that big, it probably crosses over into white, black, purple, green. Everybody is in those numbers. So if you're saying it's Jim Crow 2.0, what you're actually saying is black people don't even know enough to know that it's Jim Crow 2.0. It's bad enough that you think we can't get IDs. You're telling us you black people don't know what's good for you. I do. I'm an old white Jewish guy. And I'm telling you, I can't flip hamburgers, but I can tell you it's Jim Crow 2.0. How insulting. How insulting is what he's saying. Do they not realize, or do they just not care? You send out an old octogenarian white Jewish guy to tell black people, you don't know what's good for you. I understand that, there's got to be a whole lot of black people in those numbers, but you just don't get it. Go ahead. Just thank me later. It's insulting.
Barry is absolutely right. It's not just insulting to black people. Even I find it absurd. Anyway, we'll continue with today's video after a quick message from Rumble, who is today's featured partner.
That's like just Rumble with your
It's the same thing.
Rumble.com.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
What they're trying to do here is the same thing that was done in the South for decades to prevent people of color from voting.
I live in the South. I live in the deep part of the South. I know some people don't recognize Florida as the South, but it's South. And then I'm married to a white woman who I met in the South. in South Carolina. So how is this Jim Crow 2.0? Is there someplace I can't go to vote? Did I make a mistake? Should I not have married the white women? Should I not have done that? Well, explain it to me like I'm, black. How this is Jim Crow 2.0. By the way, I wasn't alive during Jim Crow, so that doesn't even make any sense to us people who are like, what are you talking about? Jim Crow? When was Jim Crow? I see people, the Panicans, and everybody else posting crap on X about Trump's going to lose. And in the interview I'm going to show you, well, he said things, there's no way, I'm not voting. I've seen people put videos out there, I'm not voting. He's lost me. I want you to tell me that while you're staring at your destiny. I want you to tell me you're not behind President Trump, that you won't vote again, whether it be Trump or Vance or anybody else. You're not voting because you don't like what Trump is doing. Your destiny awaits. Your destiny is staring you in the face. Do you not realize what these people have in store for you? Jim Crow? Oh no, that's too recent. You might want to go look at some Stalin-esque type stuff, maybe some Marx. That's what awaits you. So every time I see any panicking, any so-called black pillar, any of these people complain, bitch, whine, and moan, I'm not voting, I'm never going to do it again, I'm disappointed. What exactly are you going to do? You're going to just submit yourself to the communist regime? You're going to submit yourself to Chucky? And now we understand Kamala might be running again. So you're like, I'm not going to vote because, I'm not happy with what Trump's done. And we don't see anybody that we want arrested yet. And then yesterday he said something favorable about Bill Clinton. So I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to call you a big, steamy pile of warm, wet bullcrap. And if you don't vote, if you are really one of those people who says, I'm not going to vote, then essentially you have. I remember the band Rush with Geddy Lee, great line in the song. Just because you choose not to decide, you still make a choice. If you choose that you're not going to do something, you still made a choice. You voted for the Democrats. And then you can tweet your ass as long as you want, do whatever you say, whatever you want, but understand they're coming for you. Unless, of course, you're a closet Democrat. Unless, of course, you were never part of MAGA. Unless, of course, you don't care because maybe you're taking food stamps and everything else.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. Tell you what, Barry Cunningham really puts some good information out. And, this thing about voter ID, the thing that the Democrats push, I don't understand how anyone cannot see that as racist from the Democrats. So they're saying that people of color can't get IDs. Why is that? Number one, it's bullshit. Because you got to get an ID to get on Medicare. You have to have an ID to get prescription drugs. If you're getting government assistance, you have to have an ID for that. If you're on food stamps, you got to have an ID. Sorry, you do. Maybe not in Minnesota. You got to have an ID to get welfare. You got to have an ID to pick up a prescription. When you go to the doctor's office, you got to show a frickin' ID. Okay? Are they saying that maybe people of color that are in perfect health and, when you get a job, you have to get an ID? Are they saying that people of color that are just don't work, don't have any public assistance, never go to the doctor, are they too stupid to be able to get ID? Is that what the Democrats are saying? That it's Jim Crow 2.0 because people of color are too stupid or unintelligent or just don't have the ability to get an ID? That is the most racist thing I've ever heard said about people of color, that they can't get an ID. Okay, whatever. Let me click on this Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Barry Cunningham. I've followed his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's jump back here and see what Benny Johnson has to say about Bill Maher torches Hollywood and Epstein, then destroys Bill Gates' life. Sounds interesting. Let's see what old Bill Maher has to say.
What's up, guys? Spenny. In the single basest clip of the entire week, Bill Maher goes in and says that QAnon deserves an apology based on what we've learned from the Epstein list. Listen to this.
The Epstein files and 3 million pages being released, and now we are hearing that Bill and Hillary Clinton have both agreed to testify in the House ahead of the contempt of Congress vote. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, this is certainly something we were talking in my meeting today about what I'm going to talk about on the show Friday, because it's just too interesting. And also, I can't believe I'm saying this, but where does QAnon go for the apology? I mean, QAnon, which believed in lots of really ridiculous things like, Democrats eat babies. Yeah. But they were kind of harping a lot on the idea that the elites are running this pedophile ring. And I mean, I made jokes about them. I also made jokes after the Epstein thing happened originally that were on the idea of, well, obviously there was some smoke there. Well, now with all that's come out in the last couple of weeks, there's a little more than smoke. It does look like anybody who was at all able to get in touch with Jeffrey Epstein, he was the man.
We're doing it.
They just, yeah. I mean, and then they all lied about it. Everybody has, and the arrogance also of thinking they could just use their real name in an email, which they did, and didn't try to couch it in, when I used to get pot before it was legal, it was like, I'd like 2 shirts, please, and no seeds in the shirts this time. You had to sort of codify it. No, they're just openly talking in emails about this sort of, sexual perversion, and that they were all doing, and lots of people who you didn't think, or I never imagined were doing it. I see these names come up. So, I mean, QAnon, yes, a lot of crazy there, but you know what? You weren't totally wrong about that, guys.
Where does QAnon go for their apology? So Bill Maher says that he's going to then prepare his show in order to go hard in on the Epstein files. And that is precisely what he did on his program. Bill Maher saying rich and powerful lied about Epstein, hard time believing that they are clean. Epstein Island's like a Hooters. The entire power structure of the world is saying, yeah, I was just there for the wings. Ooh,
rock.
Here we go. And Bill Maher knows
like
a lot of these people.
A few bugs,
right? This is like this is the Ricky Gervais.
Man, the more you lift up this
is the Ricky Gervais. Like, you all knew Epstein. You all flew on his jet. You had to come here on your own plane this time, didn't you? Don't laugh at me. Don't boo me. He was your friend.
This Epstein thing, man. The more you lift up this rock, the more you see it's not just a few bugs that were crawling around under there. I mean, like, remember for a long time, who's on the list? Who isn't on the list? And what these new emails show is they all lied. All these people who were saying all these, we were never mad and we weren't there, didn't do anything. All lied. It's like Epstein Island is Hooters, and the and the entire power structure of the world is saying, yeah, I was just there for the wings.
Good to see him go in. Bill Maher continues to be visibly outraged, reads disturbing emails from the good guys who are too close to Epstein. Again, I love this point where it was like, if you're going to be a bad and horrible person, you should own that. All of these people are fake. They've been fraudulent. They've been lying to you. And I think that's what's most despicable, right? Donald Trump, he is who he says he is, right? Donald Trump's been who he says he's been for all of these years. And it's the moralizers, the people who like lecture you about being high-minded on these things. These are the people you have to watch out about.
Powerful
These are
men
the
always
holier
been
than thou
bad
people.
like this? I'm sure they have. Genghis Khan, I'm sure, did his raping and pillaging. But he wasn't a phony about it. He didn't pretend he was a good guy, I would imagine. Now, some of the people, Noam Chomsky, that was like the deal breaker for me. Noam Chomsky, Deepak Chopra did you find me a cute Israeli? He says, this is in an email. And then they go on about it and just joke about it. How can you listen to this guy as a guru after this? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to pick on him. I know him. He seems like a nice guy, but obviously there's this other side to this Peter Attia guy. I saw him on 60 Minutes recently, this great guru of health, and he's saying some of the, oh man, what? Some of his stuff was like, I go into Jeffrey Epstein withdrawal when I don't see him, he says. The problem with becoming friends with you, he says to Epstein, the life you lead is so outrageous, and yet I can't tell a soul.
That's terrible.
Peter Attia also missed his son. Like he refused to visit his son in the hospital when his son was sick and hospitalized. This is the doctor, right? This is the health guy, in order to go and spend quality time with Jeffrey Epstein. So Bill Maher straight up saying it, going in on Bill Gates. I mean, this is probably the worst of the worst, is Bill Gates when it comes to the fake moralizing.
He wrote an email to himself. I didn't even know that was a thing. I've never, do you write emails to yourself? I've never done that. Okay, so wrote an email to himself claiming that Bill Gates was worried that he got an STD from one of the Russian girls, and he wanted Epstein to hook him up with an antibiotic they could slip into his wife's coffee. I mean, of all the sleazy things I've ever heard, and of all the people not to have antivirus protection.
That's good. Man, when it's good, it's good. Oh, that's great. Bill Gates obviously getting it as bad as virtually anyone other than Bill Clinton, but those two Bills truly have been exposed again as like the fake moralizers who are constantly lecturing you about how bad your life is, or how what a terrible person you are, and how you must be more virtuous when they are the biggest scumbags on this list. Ladies and gentlemen, final clip here, hilarious, from Chris Christie. Here you go.
What's come out in like the last week or so has changed the story a lot for me. Like I said, we turned over this rock. It's not just a few bugs under there. It's like, who isn't under there? You're not in there. No. Are there any Canadians in there?
This is what it's like. I'm going to be married 40 years next month. And I know you don't applaud that. But
no, I do.
This is what it's like to be married 40 years. I'm not on there. And my wife said to me, how aren't you on there? So, like, there is an element of not being able to win on that argument. It's like, I don't know. I didn't want to be.
Alrighty, well, there you have it. I haven't been there either. I've been married 39 years, so been with my wife 39 years, and I'm not on the list. So, I don't know. Let me click on the Rumble link and show you this video does come from Benny Johnson. I'm following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's jump back here and see what Wendy Bell has to say in No Bueno. Okay, let's check it out. No bueno.
Now that I saw the Olympic skiers, a couple of the people on the USA team, doing and saying stupid things, inserting commentary that nobody cares about. I don't care about your politics. I don't care what you think about God. Because when you have the flag and USA on your body, all of that stuff plays second fiddle because you are a representation of the greatest place on planet Earth. And if you don't understand that and you believe whatever progressive woke garbage is going on in your mind supersedes your commitment, your vow, your pledge, and your honor to represent these United States, pack up. Go somewhere else. Take the flag off. Take the jacket off. Go live somewhere else, see what life is like there for a while, and then come groveling back to the United States of America like Ellen DeGeneres and beg our forgiveness. My answer will be no. See, what we're seeing in this country, sadly, with that and with this Super Bowl halftime mumbo jumbo, whether or not you watched Bad Bunny and the presentation that was all in Spanish, had no unifying message that I could see because I couldn't understand a damn thing that was being said, right? Whether or not you paid attention to that or to the alternative halftime program over at Turning Point USA, which was about love and faith and country. And all of that stuff that beats in the heart of everybody before they become co-opted by the progressive mind-washing left. There's a poll out right now. TMZ put it out. Which did you prefer, Bad Bunny or the Turning Point USA Kid Rock extravaganza? It wasn't even close. This is TMZ. This is not like some bastion of conservative values. Wasn't even close. 67% said they preferred Kid Rock. 33% said they preferred Bad Bunny. That's all I'm going to say about that. Roger Goodell doesn't care what you think. The NFL doesn't care what you think. Jay-Z, who apparently is the guy who picked Bad Bunny, they don't care what you think. And what we saw yesterday with Kid Rock and this alternative program was what we all feel overarchingly. The majority, if people were honest, do you want to see two dudes grinding on the football field? Do you want to see a bunch of young Latin women and not a white woman inside? I could see Lady Gaga. She was there for a hot second, right? Nobody white, nothing in English. If that's your idea of entertainment, okay. But the majority of America loves what you and I do. It's basic. This is not complicated. Now, that's all I'm going to say about it. It's done, and I don't care. Because the big story that they don't want you talking about is how everything that you thought you believed about this country, everything that you thought you believed about elections and how you, as an American citizen, have this privilege. It is, in fact, an honor. No, it is a duty to go whenever you can and vote for the person that you believe best represents your values, whether it's local, whether it's state or national. Everything that you think you've known about it has been inside out, turned upside down because the Democrats stole 2020. And everything else that's going on, Jeffrey Epstein, right? Protesters in Minneapolis, right? Bad Bunny, blah, blah, blah. All of that is a giant distraction and diversion from the real story that President Trump has wanted to make so clear to you for the last 6 years, as have we on this program. And I'm going to take you back to something that I saw this morning that completely changed everything in my mind about what I wanted to say to you. I was going to play for you a mashup of NFL players going in before the game, being asked by some dude and spliced together, what's your favorite Bad Bunny song? And nobody knew who the guy was. Nobody cared. None of the players, right? And then on my X feed, a video from Elon Musk, he tweeted it out, retweeted it, It's something that I know quite well. It is 5 years old. And it was on the day before Thanksgiving 2020. And it was a hearing featuring state senator and former gubernatorial candidate from Pennsylvania, Doug Mastriano, hosting an election integrity, basically hearing, inviting people to come forward with their proof in Pennsylvania of fraud. What did you see? What happened? You guys, this isn't just a couple people. We're like, I don't know. It felt kind of weird. It wasn't just, well, it was odd because in Allegheny County in Pittsburgh, they just stopped counting. And then in Maricopa County, Arizona, they just it was weird. They stopped counting. And then, it's kind of odd. But over in Fulton County, Georgia, they stopped counting. Why did they stop counting? Well, in Pennsylvania, they had to dump 682,000 mail-in ballots that nobody vetted, nobody saw. They needed to allegedly run those through the system. There was a late-night ballot dump in Pennsylvania, election night. It's almost like they needed to know how badly President Trump was clobbering Joe Biden. And that's when everything stopped. Because they needed to infuse in the tally these miraculous, unseen mail-in ballots. I mean, only in a state as convoluted as the land before time do you have 1.8 million mail-in ballots going out, but you receive and count 2.5 million. Make sense of that, ladies and gentlemen. Did you know that in that ballot dump, there was something like 507, there was 680,000 something ballots. 98% of them went for Joe Biden. Does that make sense to you? 570,000 plus ballots went to Joe Biden. Do you want to know how many went to Donald Trump? 3,200. Do you think maybe there was something wrong with that? Do you think maybe the vertical climb on the ballot tally maybe told us something? Do you think this is what President Trump tried to tell you? Do you think this is why maybe they came after them? Do you think maybe this is why those 4 indictments came out and they started dragging him through the mud? Do you think maybe Donald Trump knew all along, as did we and many of you, because you're discerning, intelligent individuals? They stole it. They stole it here in Pennsylvania. They stole it in Arizona, in Nevada. Some curious things there. 42,000 people voting more than once. 1,500 dead people voted. 19,000 voted while living outside of the state. Can't do that. 8,000 used non-existent addresses. 15,000 used commercial vacant addresses. 4,000 were non-citizens. Don't tell me it's not about getting people to vote, because they have. They did. In Nevada that we know of, at least 4,000 of them. So now when you go to a state like Pennsylvania, where Joe Biden allegedly won by 80,555 votes, and you look at the dump of 680,000 ballots that nobody saw, nobody can account for, nobody checked the signature on, do you think maybe that's garbage? Because I'm going to say yes. And all of this, my friends, is coming out. So if you hear stories today, Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary, did you hear he's all over the latest Epstein dump? Oh my gosh. Thomas Massey's like, he needs to resign. It is a distraction. And it's like, really? Or are you all so daggone afraid of what we already know, and that is coming out? And it ain't just dripping, my friends. It's not just a faucet trickle. It is gushing out. And some of the information we have coming up in today's program, specifically hour number 3, newly released details that signify the FBI and Chris Wray, when he was in charge, they knew all about what was coming up in 2020. They knew all about the ballots that were going to be dropping. They knew everything. How do we know that? Don't miss a moment, my friends. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's talk about this. Maybe these Olympians and these other people who want to bemoan the fact that we're just a loving country, everybody should come on in. I got some details to educate these sniveling progressive snits. You're going to like it too. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
All righty. Well, let's move that up here after her break here and see what that's all about.
Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. The selective coverage by these young athletes at the Olympics, those who decide to stray off course and away from patriotism and we love America and oh my gosh, I'm so excited to represent you and my Lord, I've trained since I could walk to be on skis and now I'm going to chuck it all into the wind and say something stupid. Because I've been programmed, groomed by progressives my whole life. This young contingent of woke Olympians, and I don't believe it is the majority, but it's a problem, don't you think? These are the products of 20 to 30 years of progressive liberal nonsense in your public schools. This is how it works, right? And they say ridiculous things. We should all love each other and let people come into our country and treat everybody with dignity and due process until they kill your mother. That seemed like a sharp pivot, I know. How about this headline? Do you believe any of these Olympic wokesters know anything about the phrase tren de Aragua? Do you think they're familiar with that? Because Tren de Aragua brutally tortures and kills innocent people while benefiting from federal funds that you and I get up every day and work hard to go provide. Okay? So if any schmuck downhill skier wants to step on it, okay. Okay, here's a little something for you, sweetness. I got something for you. When reports of the brutal Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua first appeared, Democrats denied its existence. No! They claimed it was an anti-immigrant myth perpetrated by Republicans. That extreme MAGA right. And we're like, no. I'm pretty sure we've got some good details. Denial began to unravel after the whole Aurora, Colorado incident, right? In 2024, when video surfaced showing armed men inside a freaking apartment complex that had taken over. Jared Polis, governor of Colorado, he's like, nah, it's not an invasion. It's an isolated problem. It's no big deal. Really? Several mainstream media schmucks. I can remember Martha Raddatz with J.D. Vance. She's like, it's not lots of apartment complexes, maybe just a couple. And he's like, what? Do you hear what you're saying? Well, in reality, the gang is very real, and they've been brutally torturing and killing people while also taking advantage of federal and state benefits programs. So, hey, woke skiers, this is for you. You want to know what they've been doing? Well, last January, a 58-year-old woman in Burien, Washington, just south of Seattle, covered this, was kidnapped from her home by 2 illegal aliens. They've confirmed ties to Tren de Aragua. The attackers tortured her by using a power drill on her hand because they wanted her ATM digits and they wanted her jewelry. They also then beat her, they shot her, and they dumped her off of the side of a road. And she played dead until they finally left. And somehow she survived. Do your woke little skier fantasies about open borders and kumbaya, does that factor in that woman? Because I'm sure she'd like to have a conversation with you. Well, and then there was January 8th of this year, an ICE agent arrested an illegal alien, a confirmed Tren de Aragua gang member, wanted for charges of what? Murder, racketeering, and drug trafficking tied to crimes in New Mexico. Super duper. And according to a federal indictment, this guy participated in the kidnapping and killing of a man and helped conceal evidence of the crime. They dumped the dude's body in the nowhere part of New Mexico, wherever the hell that is. Well, that's 2 Americans. One dead, one not. How many more do you want? Under President Trump, federal investigations, I should say, into Tren de Aragua have focused on how the gang exploits migrant infrastructure by embedding itself within legitimate support systems run by nonprofits and funded by the federal government. That's you, and that would be me, too. You and I pay for that. Well, these programs are intended to provide humanitarian aid. Investigators say Tren de Aragua has used them as hubs for recruitment, logistics, and criminal activity. So you've got the Somalians robbing us blind. They really aren't. They're allowed to because they provide great kickbacks to the politicians and to others, right? We all know it's a giant circle of suck. You've got the Armenians and the Russian gangs in Southern California robbing everybody blind with the hospice fraud. I mean, what more do you want? What more do you need? Oh, woke Olympic downhill skiers. You know, I don't like to root against people. I think that when you work hard and you give everything you have, spare moments, right? When you train on work day or weekdays, weekends, when you're up before dawn and in the gym when you don't want to, and you're one of the very best in America. You should probably also have the class to shut your mouth when you don't know what you're talking about. I say the number is probably about 30%. Might be as high as 40. These are the people in America who will never understand what we have been fighting for, what we've been sharing, the information we have dug to find, to share. Some people will not be saved. Those of you who will need to hear about the newest wrinkle in this whole Save America Act, voter ID. It's all so old what the left is saying, but Black America's response to it is wonderful. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause this. This video will be in my daily news wrap-up, so you'll get to see that information on the third hour if you tune in for that. And you know I like to skip through the commercials, so I'll get you there quickly. All right, clicking on the Rumble link takes us over here to Wendy Bell Radio. I'm following her channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, folks, and yeah, we got. I don't think that I've seen Tanner Cat 2 give me a chat before, so I think that's a new chat. That's great. Thank you very much, Tanner Cat 2. If there's anybody else that'd like to throw me a chat, by all means, please do so. All right. Let me remind you, folks, that these videos that I share with you here are videos that come directly from the producers. I have the links to their videos that I shared with you, as well as the links to their channels. So you can go check out more information. I don't get any commissions or royalties for doing this. I do it because I want the truth to get out. I want to help in distributing the truth rather than the lies and propaganda. I'll tell you, these Democrats, I just don't understand. You know, Tren de Aragua, oh, there's no such thing as that. That's just some propaganda that the Republicans made up. What? Really? It's like they are supporting these people. They are supporting these people that come in and kill innocent Americans. What the hell? Is getting their votes that important that they would sacrifice Americans? Well, yeah, I guess it is. Taking money and giving to them from hardworking, tax-paying Americans and giving to these illegal aliens that are gang members, that are terrorists. Folks, this is why I'm trying to share this information out. So maybe somebody will maybe catch a snippet of this and say, maybe I may need to rethink this a little bit. I don't know. I'm trying to save us. I'm trying to save them. Whew, okay, before I move on, I do want to share some more information here from Rumble Wallet. So let's go ahead and take a quick listen to that.
They can cancel your accounts, freeze your cards, decide what you're allowed to buy, say, or support. Big banks and financial institutions have total control, and they use it. That's why financial independence matters more now than ever.
Introducing Rumble Wallet, a wallet built for real freedom. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money, not a bank, not a government, not a tech company. Designed for patriots who stand tall, This cap captures the enduring spirit of liberty. The Liberty Bell stands proud. This isn't a credit line they can shut off, it's your wallet, permanently. Yours to protect your future.
Yours to protect your family. When the system fails, when institutions turn on their own people, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. Buy digital assets like Tether, Tether Gold, and Bitcoin in one secure place. No permission, no middlemen, no cancel button. And when you want to support the creators you actually believe in, you can use the Rumble Wallet app to directly tip content creators securely, instantly, and without interference.
This isn't a credit line they can shut off. It's your wallet, permanently. Yours to protect your future. Yours to protect your family. When the system fails, when institutions turn on their own people, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. Rumble Wallet isn't about politics. It's about freedom, ownership, and protecting what's yours. So take control today. Download Rumble Wallet now and step away from the big banks for good. True ownership, true protection, true financial freedom.
Okay, I've copied the live chats into a comment here, so it'll be a permanent part of this video. All right, there we have it. And that's just how easy it is to do a comment, folks. Just write something in this little box here and hit that little green button, and it's like magic. It really is. It's like magic. Okay, jumping over here, my daily news wrap-up playlist. I've got 16 videos in here, about 9 or 10 hours worth of information. Benny Johnson, X22 report, Black Conservative Perspective, Bongino report, American Center for Law and Justice, Dan Bongino show. This is Vince from the Bongino report. He was filling in for Dan Bongino when he was in the FBI. Also Wendy Bell. So go ahead and it's going to take me a little bit to get this all put together in Rumble Studio. So go ahead and take a break. Grab a donut and a cup of coffee, or a sandwich and a soft drink or a beer, or a nice glass of wine and some cheese, and meet me back here at 9:30 and we'll get this going. But in the meantime, I do want to thank you for being here. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.